My name's Cat Van-Davies and I am playing Shirley Kwong. I heard about the project through Sean Seat, who's a director that I've worked with a couple of times before and who I think is brilliant. So I was really fortunate to you know, come across it. And also, I mean, who wouldn't want to do a show that's a subculture set in the 70s? It's such an extraordinary time. And also, you know, I used to love being a bit of a surf, not that I could ever surf, but certainly being involved in surf culture when I was younger. So, yeah, it's great. I was, you know, I was really blown away by the detail, not just in all aspects, the detail to the time period, the detail to the characters. It felt like each of them had a really distinct individual voice, that you felt that all the characters, they weren't interchangeable. They were very much like three-dimensional units, and they all, each of them were trying to forge their own path in a world where opportunities were opening, but also there certainly weren't the opportunities that we have now. I would describe it as dangerous, free. It's a snippet of a group of young people trying to find their place in a world that's about to be upended with the Vietnam War very, very soon. I think it's exciting. Shirley's a queer woman who was raised by a single parent. Her dad lives in Hawaii. She's got no relationship with him, and she's forged her own path in the surf world as a pioneer female surf photographer, which now doesn't seem, you know, that extraordinary. But of the time, those two things, both being queer and being a surf photographer as a woman, was extraordinary. So she was paving a blueprint that didn't exist before her and doing it really, really successfully. I mean, in the series, her reputation precedes her as this, you know, an extraordinary photographer in her own right, like, regardless of gender. Yeah, which is exciting because those figures actually existed in real life as well. And I think it's a beautiful homage to that. While obviously the character is not an exact representation, it is definitely a nod to these incredible pioneers like Shirley Rogers, who existed and who still exists. Shirley comes across this group of ratbags by shooting the first surf competition. So Shirley is unlike the crew here, really well travelled. She's travelled the world with surf photography, again, extraordinary for her time. And she ends up, in many ways, falling in love with this group of people. Yeah, some a little more than others. I think Shirley, you know, I think in her life, I mean, she's really had to create her own identity in many ways. She's a mixed race woman. She's a queer woman. She's working in a subculture that generally isn't that inclusive of women. I mean, homosexuality was not legal then as well. But there's a certain kind of ease and confidence that I think she's built within herself, and an independence that she's not seeking external validation. She is doing what she truly believes in and what makes her happy, but in an extremely compassionate, generous, curious kind of way, which, you know, I hope across any decade that we continue to have figures like that. Yeah. I think it's, you know, these kind of trips down memory lane are really exciting in many ways. I mean, they give us an insight into sometimes, you know, a period of time that, you know, those of us that didn't live through it can really dive into, and we get to see, you know, how far we've come, but also what's possible as well against all odds. And I think when a world feels like it's in upheaval, and particularly at a time like now, which there is so much uncertainty, the ways in which we can find expression and freedom and exploration and community. I think community is really, really important. Of course, there's the amazing outfits. To be immersed in that, I think the 70s was, particularly the early 70s, is a really exciting time, coming off the back of the 60s, but not yet thrust into the reality of, you know, the Vietnam War and, yeah, the real kind of, the trickier times that were ahead. This was really cool to prepare for because I had a chance to get surfing lessons, which was something I was always terrified of, even though I have always been a saltwater baby. So to feel that kind of confidence in the water and to feel what it's like to really sit there and spend a significant amount of time, you really you understand the obsession with the spirituality of it, how it's not just a hobby, how it can consume someone's life. Obviously, there's as well just kind of diving into the 70s and looking at the political climate, as well as, you know, particularly around sexuality as well. And what it, you know, the hope that these young people have in what they can accomplish. I think it's easy to sometimes feel like there isn't the space for that, but actually hope is the one thing that exists beyond time and constraints and possibility. I think Shirley's life is, I mean, Shirley's life could have been incredibly difficult. I mean, to do everything she's done, to break the boundaries that she did, to exist as a queer woman in that time, to exist, you know, not just in the surf industry, but any industry, making the huge breakthroughs that she did. And what is incredible about her is that it's not that she's hardened in that experience. I think it's made her incredibly empathetic and open and compassionate and genuinely interested in the people that are around her. I think Shirley has a lot of love, but I think she also has a lot of love for herself, which allows her to kind of to do these things, and then she's, in doing that, encourages others to also project that love inwards. But you know, God, John Howard, not long after the period in which this was said that he'd be disappointed if his kids turned out to be gay. I mean, that's the Prime Minister of a country. So to be really so comfortable that in who she is talks to an extraordinary level of character. Yeah, I mean, we're so lucky. We are working with the best of the best in each department, and it makes your job incredibly easy because it's like, okay, I bring the emotional truths, I bring the nuance to the characters, because the rest of the story is being told. I don't have to manufacture a kind of a 70s swagger when I'm wearing incredible flares, you know? And the attention to detail. There's things that won't even be seen on camera, but I know exist in my costume, and that inform everything that we do. And that when you have creatives on all aspects of a project investing this much into it, it inspires you to kind of meet them at the same time. And even with the makeup department, the only makeup we get is sun damage. And I think, so many times we see a really glossy version of a period, and it's like, but both in the action and the narrative, we're not just looking at the glossy nostalgia of the 70s, we're looking at the reality of it as well. And so we're going to have burst capillaries. We're going to have, sunburn and flaky skin and all that kind of stuff. And I think that is, that's what's, it's exciting. And the music, I mean, I don't know what the music will be in post, but certainly for myself, I commissioned a friend who's an incredible DJ, Charlie Villas, to make a playlist for my character. And it's banging. Like she's put in music specifically up until 73. And it covers, Australian psychedelic surf tunes, as well as stuff from Bali and Southeast Asia. So really kind of incorporating all those cultural elements of it. And yeah, I mean, God, a great way to get in character. Barons it's complex, it's dangerous, it's sexy, it's humorous, and it's a love letter. I really hope that people watch it, and for those that maybe have had no access to the subculture from any kind of age demographic, see the beauty and the humanity in something that I think can be undermined. And I hope that people, that lived through the 70s feel kind of honoured through the portrayal of it. Yeah, I hope that people who really live surf culture feel well represented and proud of what they're a part of, and us, hopefully. And I hope that people watch it and they're able to. I hope that people watch it and they're able to escape into this world, as well as recognising all the brilliant, complex things there is in being a human being. What can I say? I mean, I know that I'll be really sad to leave this world. I don't think, they always say that you keep 10% of your character when you do a job, and I don't know, I hope I keep like 60% of Shirley. Yeah, it'll be a really hard one to let go of, that's for sure. Okay, if I heard that Shirley's going to the 80s, I would be like, hold my drink. What am I wearing? I would be over the moon. It's this thing where I think, when you watch a series, you assume that the people that are in it all the time. And in an element, to a degree in your head, you are in it almost full time, on and off screen. And it would be so exciting to see the growth over time. It'd be so exciting to be in this world dealing with the 80s. Yeah, I think personally, I think Shirley would wear the 80s really well.